All right, so this is our before. As you guys can see, we did a little bit of a balayage last time. You guys can see it's grown out, but it's time to refresh it. Now today we're gonna go a little bit blonde. We're gonna bring up the blonde up into here and then brighten up these ends a little bit and then give her a little trim. So I'm excited to show you guys how I refresh a blonde balayage. And I guess this wouldn't be considered a blonde balayage. This would be more of a brunette balayage, but I'm excited to show you guys kind of my technique for doing that. So let's go mix up. Last time we did blondoir with 20 volume, but today we're gonna do blondoir with 30 volume because we want a little bit more of a kick. So usually if I am doing like a refresh of the virgin roots and then kind of tipping out the ends, I do two separate developers, one a little stronger in the regrowth and then one a little bit lighter for the lighter ends. But for her, she wants to go a lot blonder today, so we are gonna do just one uniform developer all throughout. So like I said, we're gonna do blondoir and 30, and then I will add Olaplex in just to ensure that we keep her ends really healthy. So let's mix that up. I usually don't measure out my bleach. I go off consistency. That's what works for me. And one tip too I always do is I always mix up my lightener, and I use a brush that is just gonna be like our mixing brush so that it can get messy, and then I'll go back through and use a clean brush when we apply the lightener so that we don't have like a mixing brush that's like all messy and then you go through and apply the lightener with a messy brush. I'm gonna do just about a 1/16 of an ounce of Olaplex in there so it doesn't, we don't have to increase the developer. Just kind of mix that in. And I mix my consistency a little bit thinner than most people because we are doing a foliage, not a balayage. So this is gonna be going in a foil, so it doesn't matter to me. I don't want it thick, I want it pretty thin consistency. As part of my foliage technique, I actually do use a conditioner to act as a buffer in between where the line of demarcation, where the hair starts and where my lightener starts. So this is my favorite conditioner that I found. I'm always looking for a really lightweight conditioner, but this one's from Goldwell. It's a Dual Senses conditioner. It's their color conditioner. I actually just stumbled upon it one day. I just was using it and I really actually like it. So I just do a couple pumps into my bowl here. But you guys can see the consistency of it is super lightweight. It's like almost like watery, so that's why we like using that. For sectioning, I work off their natural part of where they normally part their hair. Then I'm gonna section the top of the ears, kind of like going from that natural part down to the, just behind the ear. And I'll section out kind of the front from the back, and I clip this away with a clip. I don't do any crazy sectioning or anything that's like insane. I just kind of clip it away so that I can work in the back section. I'll do this on both sides and then we'll section the back. And you guys, my client has a birthmark, a gray streak back here. I love that. Anytime I find that, I get so excited. If you're a hairstylist and finds a birthmark in your client like so intriguing, comment in the section below because I just find it so happy. And my client's like totally laughing. All right, so usually for the first section, I like to weave it and kind of leave a little bit out, and then I'm always gonna tease it too. And I like using a really fine tooth weaving comb so that I can get that teased area. And I'm not teasing a ton, but just a little bit to break it up. And then I use these longer foils. I get these from Smart & Final, but these are the foils that you would use to wrap a burrito. So we just get these and we tear them in half. They're awesome because they allow me to have a little bit more of a good surface to paint on, and they're super cheap. Then I'm gonna take my lightweight conditioner and just kind of paint that root area just below the teased area. And then I'll go in with my lightener and apply it right through. Now she does have a little bit of blonde through the end, so I'm just gonna kind of feather that through. I don't wanna go crazy and saturate it because it is gonna be in a foil, so we wanna make sure that we're, you know, keeping the integrity of her hair. But all I'm doing is I'm kind of feathering it up into that conditioner. Avoiding the teased area, so we are leaving a little bit of a root because this is more of a balayage look versus it being, you know, a highlighted look. So we are going to leave a little bit there. And then I'll take a shorter foil and place it right on top and fold it up and just kind of lock it in place with the corner. Two sections around the hairline, and now I'm going to do a straight across one. This is just to break up the pattern because now we have V, V, and then now we're going to go straight across. If we kept doing V's, what would happen is you would only have lightness through here and you wouldn't have any through the middle. So that's why I think it's important to kind of almost like bricklay kind of your pattern. So I'll do a deep V. Some clients, depending on how much depth they want, I will do a much bigger V. But for her, she wants to be a little bit blonder and I want to have take out a little bit more of this depth. So I'll do a little bit smaller of a V. But this allows me to still have depth within the internal, but then also to create some lightness throughout the inside. I moved up the head, I did 2 diagonal back sections to 1 across section, and now we're kind of at this triangle here at the top of the head. So I could continue doing diagonal backs, but the problem is you may get pieces like this that go across the head. So usually what I try to do is I do just straight across sections, and I'm making sure that I'm weaving them really well and teasing them so that I don't get any lines. But this usually creates a really nice flow across the hair when they wear their hair down. All I did was I feathered my lightener kind of up into here, and I am blending it with this brush, but you guys can see that there's a few spots where I just want to clean up a little bit, kind of right in there, right in there. So I'm just going to take my clean brush and kind of just brush it down, wipe it off on my towel, brush it down. This is almost acting as like a blur brush or like an eraser. So this helps just kind of blend anything a little bit more. You guys can just see how much more smooth that looks by just blending that through. So now that I finished all the way through the back, we're gonna work our way around the front, but you guys can see I've just done the diagonal backs and then down the center, and we still have these ends that are lightened, you know, through here, so this will give us our brightness to the ends. If this was somebody that had virgin hair, I maybe might go back through and kind of lighten these at the end, but because she already has some lightness in there, I'm not too worried about it, but you totally could do that if your client wants more brightness. I wanna make sure that we're getting this nice pop of blonde in the front. She's got a lot of baby hairs, right? So we're gonna do kind of the top. So all I do is I take away my section, and I'm gonna start about 1 inch away from the hairline. So we'll start kind of right about there, and then we'll start my foils, and I do about 3 back-to-back like baby light foils, just to get this nice pop of brightness in the front, and so that when she wears her hair back, you still have this like nice blonde in the front, and it doesn't have like chunkiness going on. So I'm just gonna go through her part to, like I said, about 1 inch away. And some people you have to do more, some people you have to do less. She has like a thicker hairline on this side, and then on her other, this kind of side is a little bit thinner, it's more baby hairs. So it's kind of just dependent on each client. Obviously you're customizing it for each client. Do a little tiny fill. So this is about how thick I'm gonna make my hairline section. You guys can see kind of right through there. So I always tell my clients, sorry, you're gonna have a little hair in your face for this little section. And I'm going through her part line, so I'm making sure to cover both quadrants, both sides. And then I'm doing about a highlight with thickness. So this isn't like necessarily a baby light, because this one's a little further back, but I am gonna weave it to make sure that we are kind of breaking it up a little bit. And I do take a longer foil and I'm gonna fold it. I'll lock it in place there. I'm going to use my conditioner right here, and again I go about 1 inch away, about down from the hairline. Now if the client wants a little bit more, you can go further down, but most of my clients want to see that highlight piece like when they're pulling their hair back. A lot of these baby hairs, and again, we want to be careful not getting these too blonde, but also making sure that we are including them because they are a lot. Alright, so this is our foil pattern. You guys can see it. Again, those diagonal backs into kind of the middle piece, and then we did all diagonal backs up into the part line. So, and I always leave these pieces out. Sometimes I'll throw a foil in there, but for the most part I'm not going to. We're just going to leave that out. That's going to act as our depth, and then our pieces around the hairline. So this is just a really good go-to technique. Now I will, every time I'm done like foiling, I always go back in and check and see kind of how my blend is doing, if there's anything that needs to be adjusted, but you guys can see how that blend already is starting. Sometimes I will go back through and just kind of paint like in here just to kind of give it a little bit more pop, but I just want to see like how it's already doing, if we need to resaturate. But to me this is like a really good go-to thing, and I can check and see. So now we'll just let her process. We may pop her under the dryer just for a little bit, but we'll probably just keep an eye on it. And it lifted beautifully. So now we're gonna rinse her out and take her back. Alright, so now that we've rinsed her, I'm gonna towel dry and then I'm gonna apply Olaplex number 2. We're gonna let that process for about 5 minutes or so while I mix up her toner. But you guys can see how beautiful and light we got it with the foil. So we got a lot of blonde in there, which is fun. She's excited about that. So go lay back and we'll just put some Olaplex in. Alright, so these are the toners that I'm going to be using, 9GI, 9N, 9P, and then I'm also going to mix in clear. So we're going to do half formula of clear and then the other half equal parts of these. So I'm going to do about an ounce of my formula, 9P, 9N, 9GI. And the reason why I like to do a warm and a cool together is because it gives a really beautiful tone, and the 9GI is actually a little bit cooler than like a 9GB. So we'll do about an ounce and a third, about there. And then we'll do half that formula clear. We do equal parts with our developer. And we'll go for the shampoo bowl. We mix up our toner and I'm actually gonna apply it over number 2, and the reason why is it's allowing us to still treat the hair while it's on, but it's actually gonna dilute down my toner just a little bit more because she is pretty blonde and I wanna make sure it doesn't dull out her blonde. We did dilute this half with clear, but just to ensure it to not develop too quickly, it allows it to sit on a little bit more. So I am gonna apply it just over the number 2. And it's already towel dried and all of that, so I don't really need to worry about it too much. I always start in the bottom when I am toning, and I always kind of start at the root area. So you guys are gonna see I'm gonna apply it to the root area first. I want to get that working to kind of get more of that blend in there. So we're always gonna apply to the root area first, kind of work it in, making sure that it's fully saturated, and then I'll pull it through the ends. But the ends are, I want to keep pretty blonde. We don't want them to get too muddy or ashy or anything like that. Then I take my Wow comb. If you guys haven't heard of this, it's called a Wow comb. This thing is awesome. It basically has a little turn thing in here, so it turns while the product is being combed through, and it doesn't actually collect product on here, so it's not pulling the color down, it's just dispersing it evenly, and it actually helps to detangle the client's hair, which is nice. So you guys can see this is what it's processed to, and I'm actually gonna rinse it out. It's like pretty darn perfect. You guys can see this beautiful tone that we're getting in there. I am gonna throw a little bit of the 9GI over it. I'm gonna rinse this out and then we'll put that on real quick. So you guys can see this is what it looks like, just straightened. Nice pops of blonde. I'm gonna go through texturize or cut, and then we'll curl it. All right guys, so this is our final result. I'm so happy with how it turned out. It's so much blonder, and it's nice because it's not too blonde, it's not too ashy. It's got a nice bit of warmth in there, but you guys can just see the gorgeous blend that we have and just how it turned out. I think it looks amazing. So definitely try this technique. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comment box below. I definitely want to answer them for you. And make sure to hit the subscribe button for more videos like this.